God, I'm all over the place. Stop. Work, blah, blah. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kelly and I am just a gal trying to lose some weight. So my intention was to film talking about last weekend throughout this week in my car at work before I went in, but it was really hectic this week. And I didn't have time. The one day I did have time was yesterday, which was Friday. And that wasn't about to happen when I heard the news of what went down. So this seemed just so completely trivial. And I was like, yeah, no. Plus I couldn't stop crying, so. But I'm not gonna talk about that because I'll start crying again, and this is not a political page, but yeah, I'm very sad, I'm very disappointed, and I'm angry. I'm gonna turn that anger into a fight, but that's neither here nor there. So, I got my iced coffee, I got my list. So let's talk about last weekend, shall we? Little bit of a backstory. My husband went to a boarding school for high school. He was living in Hayward at the time, and he was struggling at school because he wasn't challenged. It wasn't enough for him. He was basically smarter than the curriculum. So he didn't know what to do. His parents didn't know what to do. But he was basically bored. And so his family did not have the type of money to afford a boarding school or any type of good school. So his grandparents, who live, I think I've mentioned that before, they used to live in this house that I live in right now, said, well, there is a boarding school near us. It is held in very high esteem. Just lots of accolades, blah, blah, blah. It's very expensive. But if he agrees to completely apply himself, we will pay for the school. They had money. Rob's parents did not. So, long story short, too late. They basically paid for him to go out to this school for his high school career. And it was obviously hugely beneficial to him, and he got to live in paradise. And he did feel very out of place a lot of the time because it was rich kid school. He was not a rich kid. He did not grow up rich. It wasn't his jam. So he made up for it with his humor, as he does. One example is that they had every Wednesdays, I think it was Wednesdays, I don't know, they would dress for dinner. And that would mean suits or dresses for the females. And he couldn't afford it. So there was he checked, there were no guidelines on what kind of suit you wore. So what he did was he went to Goodwill and he made a thing of it, a show of it. He bought the loudest, most ugliest suits he could find, completely mismatched, like checked jackets with striped pants, like just horrific. And he wore them every Wednesday, and it became a thing. And it's something that he was known for. I think it was actually in the yearbook too. But that's how he dealt with it. He just, as you do, you have to. So anyway, I tell you all that because last weekend was his high school, in 2020, it would have been his 35-year high school reunion. And we had planned on going there, staying at the dorms. You pay a certain amount of money, stay at the dorms, do the whole weekend. They have all these activities. Well, as you know, 2020 happened. Everything shut down. So we didn't do it. We were just going to say keep the money as a donation, but they said, well, you know, when we can do it, we're just going to invite everybody back. They said we're going to invite everybody back who couldn't come this year, and it ended up being in 2021 too. So we'll just hold on to your money and you can come if you want to, or we'll refund it. So this year happened, and they said, okay, we're going to do it. So we did it. That was a really long-winded way to say we went away last weekend. Which you guys already know if you've watched my previous videos, because I've talked about it constantly. So, here's what happened. I'm sorry, you guys. I had a little nap. It was an unintentional nap. And now I'm completely out of sorts. So, please bear with me. Friday, we went to work like normal. So, I got out at 4, boogied on home. All my stuff was ready except for whatever little things I had to do to change my clothes, whatever. So I think we were only here for a half an hour before we jumped in the car and headed out. And we got there, registered, got to the dorm. It was cute, actually. I didn't know what to expect. He didn't know what to expect because it'd been 35 years. And, you know, all the buildings had been redone since then. But, I mean, it's still a dorm room. So it was cute. There are 2 twin beds. And they had the little prongs on them so you could make them into bunk beds, which we considered for like a half a second before we realized that one of us would break a hip or something. So that didn't happen. And we were on the 2nd floor. And the view from the bed that I slept in was actually the 18th hole of Spyglass. If anybody's familiar with golf at all, Pebble Beach is a very well-known golf area. I'm not familiar with golf, by the way, so forgive me for whatever I get wrong. But this happened to like overlook the 18th hole of Spyglass, so whatever that means. It was very pretty. So we got it up to the room. We dropped our bags off. The light dinner cocktail hour or whatever it was. Unfortunately, there weren't a lot of people from Rob's class at this reunion. There was like a handful. So he knew maybe 10 people other than staff, which, I mean, 35 years later, there weren't that many staff that he knew either. But it was still a good time. We kind of just hung out with each other, which we haven't had a opportunity to do that much lately. For eats, they had sushi, brisket sliders, potato salad, beans, salads, and some other fancy stuff. And then they had beer and wine and coffee and like lemon water, and I'm sure there were sodas if you wanted them. So we kind of ate, and then 8 o'clock was a jam session. Rob was big into band music in high school, and the band director, who I believe is still the band director there, had organized this jam session. And he was Rob's mentor in high school, I think the last 2 years. And so Rob thinks just amazingly of him. I've met him a couple of times. He's a great guy. So we ate, and then he went and got his like bass and headed out to get, you know, everything set up. And I went back up to the dorm to just kind of chill for a minute. And then we headed down to the jam. Was not a big event. There was maybe 10 people there. And for some reason, the director had set it all up, and then somebody had come in behind him when he wasn't there and took everything down. So it seemed unorganized. I mean, it was still a good time. Friday night, we did not have anyone to watch the dogs. So Rob went home after the jam. I considered going home as well, but it was already like 10:30 and I was tired and I just wanted to like go to sleep. And traveling all that way home really did not appeal to me. So I had anticipated being hungry after, because I knew it was a light dinner. So I had brought a box of cereal and some shelf-stable almond milk with me. So when I got up to the dorm, I just had a bowl of cereal. And then it was very odd because I never went to college. I don't know dorm life, but I know hotel life, which was how I was basically treating it. So I got up to the room and I got my bowl of cereal ready, and I sort of was like, where's the TV? I ate my bowl of cereal and I went to bed. I had a little bit of a hard time getting to bed, but it was just because it was a different place and I was by myself. But I mean, for a dorm bed, it was fairly comfortable, and I had the window open. There was like nice breeze. The fog had rolled in. It was very nice. But I did wake up super early because there's no blackout curtains or anything. So I think I got up at 5, and then I realized that this was my opportunity to take a shower, because the shower situation was almost worse than if it had been like a locker room situation, because at least in a locker room situation, you know what you're getting into. But the way that the bathrooms were set up, they were non-gender specific, and in them there were a set of 2 sinks, a shower stall, and then a bathroom stall. And each bathroom had those. So, and the shower stall did have a curtain, but it wasn't very good. But all of the hooks to hold like your clothes and towels and things like that were on the outside. So in order to cover yourself, you had to get out of the shower stall naked. And there was no locks on the doors. So I was like, okay, it's 5 a.m. This is when I'm going to shower, because nobody else is going to be awake. Everybody else is probably hungover. So yay. And it worked out really well. I got in, got out. Perfect. Then I went back to bed and just laid there and scrolled on my phone until Rob got there. And we went down to breakfast. There's a cafeteria there, but it's a rich kids cafeteria, so they serve way better food than any cafeteria I've ever seen. And Rob confirmed that was true even then. Like, it's not just for a reunion weekend. So we got down to the cafeteria, and I mean, they had your standard breakfast fare. They had eggs, bacon, French toast, potatoes. They had these little kimchi rice bowls. And then they had just tons of cereals, granola, yogurt, bagels, donuts. It was a pretty good setup. So I got the works. Rob just had the kimchi bowl. And then we had to get ready for the field trip, which was actually the best part of the weekend for me. So we are in Pebble Beach, so we're right near a beach, as the name would suggest. So the field trip was a marine science field trip down to the beach to the tide pools. And I was rather hoping we would walk so I could get some steps in, but they put us on a bus because there were a lot of older people and people with kids, so I get it. So it was like maybe a 4 or 5 minute bus ride, and then we get to the beach, and the teacher who was the science teacher who was organized the whole thing, he was like, it's a perfect day, like the tide pools are just perfect. So we all went down on the rocks and into the tide pools, and I think we stayed for like an hour, but it seemed like 2 minutes. It was really cool. the rocks were kind of slippery depending on which ones you got on, and Rob wasn't wearing the right footwear, so he kind of hung back a little bit, but we saw like basically a lot of starfishes and lots of little things. I hung with the people who had kids because it was just so cute to see the little girls, you know, just being like, oh my God, can I hold it?
It's so cute.
Isn't it?
It's like a rattlesnake.
It is like a snake, but it's a fish. Do you want to hold it?
It was really cute. So we had a really good time with that. Really the highlight of the weekend for me. I really, truly enjoyed it. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do anything like that in high school. Ever. That is definitely a rich kid's field trip. But it was fun. And so we came back to, I'm referring to my list. We came back to the dorms, and then Rob had a DJ gig at the little radio station that they have there, which he used to host 35 years ago. He used to have his own little show. So everybody that came in that wanted to could get like a half an hour slot this weekend. And then there was a pool party at 1:30 or no, I think it was at 12:30. So we kind of headed down together, and I got into my bathing suit. You guys remember in the last video, I was really proud that I was going to be able to wear it. I was really excited. So I put it on and I headed down, and I got to the doors of one of the dorm buildings where I could see the pool. And before I stepped out, I'm glad I looked, because no one was in swimwear. Like, no one. There was hardly anyone there, and nobody was in the pool, and nobody was wearing bathing suits. So I was like, okay. Turned around, went back up to the room, just put on shorts and a t-shirt over the bathing suit and went down. But that was kind of a bust for me. It was a gorgeous pool, but nobody wanted to get in it. It was kind of cold. I get it. But I didn't want to be the first one to get in. Y'all know I have social anxiety. And I didn't know anybody there but my husband, and my husband was hosting his radio gig. So I didn't know anybody there. So I just kind of hung out and played on my phone for a while. It was nice. It was sunny, but it was like cool enough so that you didn't feel overheated. And they had a spread of sandwiches and chips and cookies. So once Rob was done with his radio show, he came down and just to say hi to me, because he was going to go and grab the dogs at home and then bring them to his dad's house to drop them off for the night. But at that point, I'd had it with the pool, because I was just basically sitting there on my phone. I could do that up in the dorm room, less intimidated. And so we grabbed some sandwiches, and he went his way. I went up to the dorms, and then he came back a couple of hours later, and we got ready for the dinner that night. It was a good dinner. We served prime rib, salmon, polenta, some sort of rice dish, salads, dinner rolls. And then dessert was tons of macaroons and little pieces of tiramisu and carrot cake. I ate a lot. Oh, and they had these potatoes. I've seen them on TikTok and Instagram where they're like sliced in like accordion-like. They were pretty good. Yeah, I ate a lot. And then when Rob went back for coffee, like we'd already had dessert and I was full and he was full. And he went back for coffee. I was like, okay, can you refresh mine too? And he's like, well, I'm only going to have 2 hands. I'm like, yeah, that's only 2 cups of coffee. He's like, okay. And I was like, what is the big deal? But then when he came back, he had a plate of like piled high with more macaroons, and he just sort of set it on the table and threw his napkin over it. And I was like, oh, he's stealing those. Those are coming back to the dorm room with us. And sure enough, they did. Which made for a very nice little midnight snack, but I don't have any pictures of us at the actual dinner. Oh, the dress. Okay, so my last video, I had asked you guys to help me pick a dress. And you guys had great suggestions on how to fix the two that were a little too big. I didn't even know darts were a thing. I didn't know that you could do that. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to implement any of them, so I went with the little black dress. And it was fine. It was very understated, and I did not feel out of place. I got some cute new shoes from Amazon that were actually comfortable too, and I went with that. So thank you guys for all your suggestions, and I will do definitely for sure to fix the dresses, because I'd love to still be able to wear them in the future, get some more wear out of them. I'm sad that I didn't wear them more as I was losing, because they were too tight before and now they're too loose. I didn't get that in between time. But so after the dinner, we just went back up to the dorm. We're not partiers, so we didn't, I mean, everybody was sort of breaking off into groups to like go drink more, and we were like, we're old, sorry. So we just went back up to the dorm room. Rob put Pluto TV or whatever it is, that free station, on his phone, and She Devil was on, which I hadn't seen in years, but I used to love it when I was a kid. So we watched that, and we ate some more macaroons, and then we went to bed in our separate twin beds. The next morning, we just got up and left. There was a breakfast, but we were gonna go pick up breakfast for Rob's dad since it was Father's Day, so we just did that instead. But it was a fun weekend. Oh, look, you can see my bald spot. That's fun. Anywho's it. All the food I ate brings us to today's weigh-in. So I did not weigh in last weekend because I didn't think of it Friday morning. But the weekend before that, I weighed in at 206.4, I think. So I think I had only lost like 0.2 pounds, basically maintained. And so I wasn't sure what was going to happen this weekend because I ate a lot last weekend. And I didn't get to work out on Sunday. I only got half of what I would normally work out on Saturday. But we were more active than we normally are. We're pretty sedentary other than the workouts that I get in our normal lifestyle. So we were moving and grooving that weekend quite a bit more than normal. The weekend before last, I weighed in at 206.4. Today, I weighed in at 204.2. So that is a weight loss of 2.2 pounds. Yay. Yay for many reasons. Yay because I had eaten so much and not gotten any formal real exercise in last weekend. Yay because I have really kind of feel like I had just been like puttering towards weight loss the last few weeks, like a half a pound here, a pound there. So a 2.2, that's pretty substantial. I guess it's not because it's really for 2 weeks, but still, we're gonna go with substantial. And yay because still no period, guys. So a couple videos ago, I talked about the fact that I haven't got my period. I am now almost a month late. I think I'm like 21 days late. Not pregnant. I'm 48 years old though, so pretty sure menopause is coming in. This week though, I have had acne like I was 14, and I was pretty sure my boobs, actually, yeah, they're a little sore right now, and they were sore last night. So I'm thinking I may be getting a period sometime next week. So basically I would be about a month late for my period. So I guess this is what happens when menopause comes. You just start getting all kinds of funky, all kinds of late or even soon, like you get them within a couple of weeks of each other. I I really don't want that to happen, but yeah. So I didn't know if I was going to have a bloat factor because I've never got my period, or what was going to happen weight loss wise. So I'm glad that there was a weight loss this week. I'm sure that there's definitely a bloat factor in there, especially if I am getting more PMS, acne, and tender boobs and all that. And I've had cramps right along, so I don't even know what's going on with that. But yeah, menopause can go suck an egg. I'm over it. I haven't even really started it yet. I don't even. Yeah. So, yay for 2.2 pounds this week. I'm going to cut this off here because this video is already probably at least a decade long. So let's just wrap it up and say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed any part of this, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.